I read a lot of amazing books in 2023, but I am mentally already looking ahead to 2024 and what is coming out. I have seen so many incredible book announcements, and I am champing at the bit to try to get my hands on some of them. However, I am doing a book buying ban, so how is that gonna work? I was actually doing my book buying ban this past year as well, and what I did was I allowed myself the pre-orders that I had already placed, and then halfway through the year, I allowed myself 6 more pre-orders. So I ended up with a total of 24 pre-orders plus my own book, and honestly, it was way too many. The pre-orders in the back half of the year were a little bit more sensible, but I was pre-ordering things not just from authors that I knew and loved, but also just things that looked cool, things that had pretty covers, that kind of thing. And that is not the way to be going about things in a book buying ban. I've already posted a video talking about how my book buying ban for 2023 went and what I'm going to be doing for 2024. And part of that is that I am still going to be allowing myself pre-orders, but I'm going to be approaching it very differently for next year. As of filming this just before Christmas, I do have 10 books that I have already pre-ordered, but I am allowing myself a little bit of wiggle room. So let me explain. Books that I'm allowed to pre-order for next year, with the exception of a couple that I had already pre-ordered before making these decisions, they're going to fall into one of 2 categories. First of all, they are from an author that I know I enjoy their work. Most of the time, this is going to mean I've read multiple of their books and enjoyed it. In a couple of instances, it's that I loved one of the books that I've read of theirs, and they've got another one coming out that sounds interesting. And I've actually made a list of the authors that are allowed to be within that category. 2 is that it's from someone that I know, either a friend of mine, someone from my writing group, someone from my publisher. I'm allowed to pre-order those books as and when I want. So let's look at my instant pre-order list. Emily Henry, Abby Jimenez, Christina Lauren, Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broca, Alison Cochrane, Beth O'Leary, and Casey McQuiston. There are also a few authors that I've only read one of their books, but I am going to allow them on this list for very subjective reasons. First one is Kate Goldbeck, who wrote You Again, Julia Bart, who wrote The Writing Retreat, Sango Mandana, who wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, Ashley Poston, who wrote The Dead Romantic, and Olivia Dade. And then finally, there is a series, a very long-running series. You can probably actually see it on my bookshelf there. The Chronicles of St. Mary's series by Jodi Taylor. It's like 14 books long at this point. There will be a 15th book out next year, and I will be pre-ordering it because gotta add it to the shelf. And I will probably get that one in both physical and audio because I love the audiobook narrator Zara Ram. Those are the people I'm allowed to pre-order from, even if they're not already on the list of books that I've pre-ordered. If it comes up mid-year, I'm allowed to pre-order. So let's look at the books I have actually pre-ordered. I'm gonna go through in publication order, and I'm kind of embarrassed by this first one, and that is Argylle by Ellie Conway. Argylle is being made into a movie. The book is a spy thriller, but the movie is about the author of the spy thriller being sort of thrown into a real life spy thriller situation because of her book having been very like almost prophetic or at least prescient. The reason I've pre-ordered it, this is not my preferred genre, guys, but the reason I've pre-ordered it is because I am the most basic bitch around and I love Taylor Swift. I'm not like the biggest Swiftie of everyone, but like this pre-order decision is really throwing that into question. There is a theory that I personally am not super bought into, but like it exists, that Ellie Conway is Taylor Swift. And I don't necessarily believe that Taylor Swift is Ellie Conway, especially because they've just come out and said it's not Taylor Swift, and I don't think that they would do that if it was, because that would just then be a lie. But I think she's involved with this somehow. I don't know. It's absolute clown city over here. So I've pre-ordered it. It's probably not related, but I've done it anyway. I'm really sorry. Tell me in the comments how horrible of a decision you think that was. I'm fine with it. I'm sorry. Okay, that was embarrassing. Let's move on to the next one. Let's pretend I only had 9 pre-orders and I didn't tell you about that one. On the 25th of January is The Breakup Tour by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broca, which is about a pop star. And some are even... Why is this video all about Taylor Swift all of a sudden? Some people are saying that it's meant to be like a parody of Taylor Swift. I did not know that until after I'd already pre-ordered it. I would have pre-ordered anything that they wrote. Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broca wrote The Roughest Draft and then Do I Know You? And they are a husband-wife writing duo, and they write romances together, and they are excellent. On the 20th of February, we have At First Spite by Olivia Dade, which is about a woman who breaks up with her boyfriend or is cheated on by her boyfriend or her fiance or something and ends up buying what's called a spite house, which is a house that's really, really tiny, has been built in between two buildings as basically like a fuck you to the developers of the buildings on either side, saying you can't have this space. And she buys a spite house in between, I think, like her ex's house and her ex's brother's house. Sounds like the most amazing forced proximity recipe ever, so I think it'll be great. Jumping all the way to April, on the 2nd of April, we have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I know nothing about this book. I did not even look at the description for this book. I was just like, yep, pre-order. She is an auto pre-order for me. Absolutely love Abby Jimenez. 24th of April, we have A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana, which is the same author as Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. She's really trying to kill me with these long book titles, but I'm really excited for this. I thought Irregular Witches was like the gold standard of cozy fantasy. If you want to hear my thoughts on the cozy fantasy Holy Trinity, I've got a whole video about that. On 25th of April, we then have Funny Story by Emily Henry, which is going to be hilarious, which is about two people whose exes have gotten together and they decide that they're going to fake date in order to make their exes jealous. On the 4th of May, we have Here We Go Again by Alison Cochrane. Know absolutely nothing about this book. Probably should have looked it up before making this video, but Alison Cochrane wrote The Charm Offensive. It's a queer romance that's a parody of The Bachelor, and I have a soft spot for The Bachelor, which is also embarrassing. Why am I pulling out my darkest secrets in this video? And then last year she put out a queer Christmas novel called Kiss Her Once for Me. On the 14th of May, we have The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. All right, I'm sick of saying I know nothing about these books, so I'm gonna look this one up. Paradise Problem, Christina Lauren returns with the delicious new romance between the buttoned-up heir of a grocery chain and his free-spirited artist ex as they fake their relationship in order to receive a massive inheritance. So essentially they did a marriage of convenience in the past and then broke up, and now they're fake dating again to get his inheritance. See, I did not know what that was, but now I'm excited about it. On the 16th of May, we have The Honey Witch by Sydney Shields, which breaks all of my rules, and I pre-ordered this ages ago. And then finally on the 6th of August, we have The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. I know very little about this except that it has to do with wine. I really enjoy Casey McQuiston's adult books. I didn't love Ike Shara Wheeler, but her adult books have been great and I'm excited for this one. And that is it. That is my list. It's looking very light towards the end of the year, but again, a lot of those authors that I listed that I haven't actually pre-ordered anything from yet, it's probably because their books that are coming out just haven't been announced yet. So I'll be keeping an eye out on their social media to see if they have anything coming out. Of course, we couldn't have a video about pre-orders without me mentioning that my book, You've Got Chainmail, is out on the 15th of August, and it is a contemporary rom-com with a fantasy twist. It's a little bit nerdy, a little bit funny, if I do say so myself, and I cannot wait to share it with you. Let me know in the comments as well what you've pre-ordered for next year. I want to know what you're looking forward to for 2024. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.